Dear Swami, loving pranams at your lotus feet. Respected elders, brothers and sisters, Sai Ram. By Bhagawan's grace, we restart the series of Samarpan sessions in His divine presence at Sundaram. Before I introduce the speaker for the Samarpan session today, I have been tasked with the responsibility of sharing a few words on Samarpan itself. Now I was thinking how I'll do that. How do you capture Samarpan in one single sentence? And that is when came into my mind the beautiful words of Professor Kasturi. He once referred to, and listen to these words very carefully, dear brothers and sisters, he once referred to the touch of the one in the play of the many. The touch of the one in the play of the many. And if you are still wondering who the one is and who the many are, the touch of this one, the only one, our Swami who resides here, resides in all our hearts, resides all around us, and is still here if we have the eyes to see it. The touch of that one in the play of the many, and the many is each one of us. Each one of us will have a Samarpan tale to share. In our Suprabhatam, we talk about Shrutva Tavad Bhuta Charitram, Akhanda Kirtim. Infinite glory can never be recorded completely. How do you ever describe the glory of this Lord? By His mercy, it is possible that we get a few glimpses through the lives of many who by His grace have come into touch with Him. And the objective of Samarpan is to bring some of those people here and share with us those experiences. And dear brothers and sisters, let me tell you, when you listen to those experiences, you'll actually get a feeling that you are going through those experiences, and those experiences become your very own. You didn't actually feel that I have not seen Swami. You will go through those experiences yourself. That is the power of the story of our Swami. That brings me to the speaker of the day. It's a great pleasure and privilege to have Brother Dr. M. Sainath as the speaker for the Samarpan session today. Dr. M. Sainath is an alumnus of Sri Sathya Sai Institute of Higher Learning. He hails from Hyderabad. He joined Swami's Institute in the year 1985 to pursue his BSc in physics. And based on Bhagawan's guidance, he went on to do MSc in physics and did his PhD in nuclear physics. With the divine blessings of Bhagawan, he joined as a faculty in the Department of Physics in the Prashanthi Nilayam campus in the year 1995. After more than 2 decades of living, staying, breathing the same air as Bhagawan in the divine presence, and I emphasize living, staying and breathing the same air, because one thing which is not mentioned here, I must go out of script and tell you that when he lived, he actually had the great opportunity of serving Bhagawan in Bhagawan's residence during this period. The divine presence, he moved to Hyderabad based on Bhagawan's instructions to take care of his ailing father. After that, he went on to handle many important roles and responsibilities in several educational institutes, including as controller of examinations for Rajiv Gandhi University of Knowledge Technology at Hyderabad. He served as the director of the campus of Berry's Institute of Technology at Mangalore. He was Dean Academics Innovation and Planning and Innovation Incubation and Entrepreneurial Development at the Rajiv Gandhi University of Knowledge Technologies at Basar in Telangana. He has more than 90 research publications and symposium presentations to his credit, and is a member of many professional bodies. You'll imagine how proud Swami will be when he listens to all this. Currently, he is Executive Director of ICFI Foundation for Higher Education Innovation and Entrepreneurship Council and Professor of Physics at ICFI Tech. Sri M. Sainath was a very active member of the Coordination Committee for Cultural Activities and the Sports Meet and Grama Seva in Swami's University, and presently is very actively involved with the academic programs of Sri Satya Sai Institute of Higher Learning. As a speaker, Sri Sainath was blessed with opportunities to speak in the divine presence during many occasions, including Dasara and other festive occasions at Prashantinilayam, and across various other places, including South Africa, Mauritius, Mumbai, Hyderabad, Srikakulam, and by Swami's grace now, Chennai. With these words, may I invite Brother Dr. M. Sainath to kindly address us. Jai Sairam.
Om Shri Sairam. With loving pranams and salutations at Bhagawan's lotus feet. Respected elders, my dear Sai sisters and brothers, it's a great honor for me, a blessing that Swami has chosen to give me this opportunity to come here on the anniversary of Sundaram and share a few experiences to make all of us once again see the light, all of us to go along the street, travel the road to our destination, which is the ultimate goal of every human sojourn on this earth. I would like to set the context for today's talk with a small recollection. The first batches of MBA, which was started in Prashantinilayam, was a very blessed lot. Swami would call all of them on every Sunday to the audiovisual room of the university, where he would talk to them and have a very personalized interaction with all of them. Some of us, the so-called speaker boys, would also sneak in, of course, with his knowledge. And we were also privy to these talks and discourses which Bhagawan would give. During one of these talks, there was a very important question which Bhagawan asked the MBA students. He said, what is the cause for the downfall of an institution? What is the cause for the downfall of an institution? So MBA boys, well, they started financial discrepancy, mismanagement, HR problems, lack of market penetration, this, that, and everything. And Swami said, for all of this, there is still an underlying reason. And that is when differences in opinions are converted to differences in personalities. Differences in opinions are translated to differences in personalities. Now, he said every financial discrepancy, mismanagement, HR issues, whatever you say, this is at the bottom of this. Then he delved a little more further. He said, see, what is the reason why even this situation should arise? And that, he said, is because there is disharmony within the individual. So the bottom reason for all the problems that we see in the world today, the road rage, let us say, communal intolerance, social intolerance, wars between nations, everything can be traced back to one single source, and that is there is a disharmony within the individual himself, which is translated in the macrosphere as all these aberrations that we see in the world outside. So it is very important, therefore, that today my topic will be on this disharmony within. How do we try to overcome it within ourselves? Now, you can rest assured, I'm not going to talk deep philosophy. I'm not even qualified to talk about that. I will only talk about my experiences and other experiences which I was fortunate to witness with Bhagawan, driving some very important lessons from this, for that all of us can understand how to understand this disharmony, its consequences, and how to overcome it. Mainly the latter half of what I just said. So, what is this disharmony within human beings that Swami talks about? This, in all his discourses, if we go through, it comes down as one single point, and that is called trikarana sudhi. So lack of this trikarana sudhi is the disharmony within the individual self, which Bhagawan talks about. Trikarana sudhi is basically unity of thought, word, and deed. He expects us to speak what we think. He expects us to act what we speak. So our thought, word, and speech should be in unity. And when we have achieved that, that becomes a perfect replica of the Trikarana Suddhi model which Bhagawan talks about. So there are several times in Prashantinilayam we used to see how much of emphasis Swami used to place that his students would always speak what they thought and do what they speak. He would never lose an opportunity to ensure that this lesson was derived from every episode or experience that he had us. I particularly recollect one particular incident. Those of us who remember the Prashant Nilayam of late 80s or early 80s, we know that in front of South Prashanti, there used to be a row of general stores, wherein, some small items which devotees would like to buy, like toothpaste, toothbrush, etc., they could go and buy there. There was one elderly gentleman who was looking after these stores in those days. So he would go with a Matador van to Anantapur once a week or so, buy all the items in bulk, come back to Prashant Nilayam, and he would sell those items again in the general stores at a zero profit basis. So the poor gentleman, once when he was going to Anantapur, his Matador met with a severe accident, and he was admitted to a hospital in Anantapur. This news was conveyed to Bhagawan. He said, Swami, Mr. So-and-so, he has met with an accident, Swami, he is admitted to a hospital in Anantapur. So Swami immediately sent Mr. Kutumbarao, go and see how this gentleman is in the hospital, and he sent some vibhuti packets. So Mr. Kutumbarao met this gentleman, and Swami has sent prasadam for you, Swami has sent his blessings for you, I'm sure you will get better. Then this person on the patient who is on the bed asked Mr. Kutumbarao, sir, can you do me one favor? I will write a letter, can you please give it to Swami? This Mr. Kutumbarao said, gladly, write. So he got a paper and he had a pen and he wrote, Swami, this is what has happened, accident has happened and all those things. Swami, the doctor here who performed the surgery on me is one of the most eminent ones. He has said that I cannot walk for at least another 1.5 months, 45 days, before that heals. And I'm very sad for that because Dasara is coming up. I would like to come and sit in the Purnachandra auditorium. The Prokshana Swami used to do. Prokshana means, after the Homam and Yagnam is over, Purnahuti is over, Swami would take the holy water and he would go around the devotees, sprinkling the holy water on them with his own hands. How many ever people are there, he would do it without fail. So this gentleman was very upset. 45 days bed rest, I cannot walk, which means I cannot go to the Dasara festivities. I will lose the opportunity of getting the Prokshana from Swami. So he said, Swami, I pray that things become normal and I somehow get that blessing. So he wrote that letter, gave it to Mr. Kutumbarao, and Mr. Kutumbarao took it and gave it to Swami. Swami read it, everything was over. 1 week later, this gentleman was discharged from hospital, so he was taken on a wheelchair and put at the darshan. So Swami came, he said, Arey, very nice to see you. When did you come? I said, Swami, I came yesterday. Very nice to see you. What did the doctor say? And in the letter, that person had very clearly written, Swami, the doctors are saying this, but you are my ultimate God and master. Whatever you say, I surrender to you. Whatever you say, I know will happen. These doctors are only instrumental in what is happening. And he wrote that letter and he had given it. So Swami saw him and he said, Arey, very nice, when did you come? He said, Swami, I came yesterday. Very nice. So when are you going to walk? He said, Swami, the doctors are saying I can't walk for 45 days. And I'm very sorry to hear that. And Swami said, oh, Manchidi. And he went away. Then 2-3 days later, once again darshan happened. Once again he came. Once again he saw him and he said, very nice, how are you healing? When are you going to walk? Again he said, Swami, I think I can't walk before 45 days, Swami. In fact, I'm very upset about it. Manchidi, he said, and he went again. Then a few more days later, once again he came, Swami came to him and he said, very nice to see you. When are you going to walk? Once again, but this time he knew something was happening. So he said, Swami, the doctors are saying 45 days I can't walk. And Swami said, Manchidi, and he went away. But this time this gentleman, he was an old devotee, an old hand at Swami's ways. So he understood something is happening. Swami is repeatedly asking the same question. I am repeatedly telling the same answer, but something is happening in between. So that night he was seriously thinking what is happening. So then his wife came, what are you so lost in deep thought? He said, see, this is what has been happening. Every day Swami is asking me the same question and every day I am giving the same answer, but this drama is going on. I am not able to understand what is Swami trying to tell with this. Then this lady asked, what is these things and all, everything happened. Then she said, You wrote a letter to Swami, you remember. He said, yes. What did you write in that letter, if I may ask? He said, this is what I wrote, and I wrote in the letter, Swami, doctors are only instruments. What you say only will happen because you are my everything. And he said, I got it. This time Swami won't catch me on the wrong foot. So he was sitting, Swami came, he asked, Sir, very nice, when are you going to walk? This time he caught Swami's hand and he said, Swami, you are my doctor, you are my everything. Whatever you say will happen. And Swami said, then why are you repeatedly telling me what that doctor is telling? You think something, you write something, but when action comes, you forget what you have thought and you have written. So even in these cases, Swami will repeatedly emphasize the power of Trikarna Suddhi. He expects that first amongst us. It's very important that we keep failing, there's no doubt about it. But the thought, we are human beings. We are blessed with the power of discrimination which no other creation has. And that is what he expects us to repeatedly exercise and make sure that we always try to adhere to this principle of Trikarna Suddhi. So this is where we come to the next part of my talk. What is this? How do we achieve this Trikarna Suddhi? Different people have different methods to use it. There's no one prescribed method. Like Swami once tells, of a very interesting story of a pharmacist and a doctor, and a barber, a pharmacist and a barber. So both of them got headache. The barber comes to the pharmacy and he takes a headache medicine and he takes it. The pharmacist comes to the barber's shop to get a nice head massage. Each person has their own style, they have their own requirements, right? Everybody doesn't have the same problem here, neither does everybody have the same solution. So therefore, sadhanas are multiple in number. Each one has to decide what is the sadhana which is good for us. Nevertheless, it is a fact that sometimes we get into the trap of which sadhana is good for me. Right, we hear there is one sadhana called as service, seva. There's another sadhana called as namasmaranam. There's one more sadhana called as japam and dhyanam. More or less all the methods of sadhana fall under one of these three. So which one is good for me? So we start with one, not good. We go to another one, not good. We go to the third one, not good. And then we are confused and we are totally lost. So this is a dilemma which almost every one of us who is on the serious path of spirituality, we get into at some point of the time or the other. I remember, I would like to dwell a little bit upon this topic because I think what I learned and from Bhagawan, it will be useful to some people in this occasion is what I feel. There was a time when Swami was speaking to a group of devotees and he called me inside and he said, translate from Telugu to English. So in reality, he used to laugh at my Telugu. But different things happened at different times. This happens to be one of those unexpected blessings. So I went and I sat and surprisingly one of the devotees asked this very question. He said, Swami, they were from Germany by the way. So he said, Swami, in our Satsang and all, we have so many speakers, we read your books. He said, these are the three forms of sadhana which is prescribed. But Swami, for us Westerners, we are not familiar with any one of these. How do we select? What is the correct sadhana for me? Swami gave a beautiful example. He said, see, when you first start riding a cycle, you use a tricycle, three-wheeled cycle, tricycle. So you can't remove any one of those wheels. You remove any one of those wheels, you are going to fall down. So all the three wheels are important when you start learning how to ride a cycle. Gradually you start attaining balance. You feel more confident of yourself. Then you remove one wheel. As you get even more balance and even more confidence, there may be a time where you can remove the second wheel also and ride the cycle on just one wheel. That is also possible. But you cannot ride on one wheel straight away. You have to begin with three wheels and then go to a single wheel. Swami said sadhana also, the same thing can be prescribed. When you are setting out, please take a healthy mix of all three. Namasmaran, Japam and Dhyanam as well as Seva. Gradually as we start attaining, now what is the balance Swami spoke about here? That balance he said is the balance in your life. How do we judge that? We find that we are becoming more at peace with ourselves and our surroundings. Our emotions are much under control. We are not getting excited by what is happening, stimulus around us. We are more in control of ourselves. Our thoughts are far more stable and steady. Most importantly, our mind is much more steady. This stage will definitely come. It is Swami himself and all the Mahagurus in the world have all said this. If you are on the serious path of sadhana, this is a stage we will all arrive at, where we will see that we are much more stable and steady. So once we start achieving the degrees of stability, one by one, our own Antaratma will tell us which is the correct sadhana for us. He says, more than anybody from outside, you yourself will discover which sadhana is good for you. Gradually, you can start evolving and adopting that particular sadhana. So, but that sense of balance in life has to come. Until that comes, a healthy mix of all three is very, very important, is what Swami said. So, it's therefore a very clear directive to all of us about how we proceed in the sadhana so that we can achieve what we call as Trikarana Sudhi. Now, often we wonder, is this a task which, we can really achieve? It sounds so difficult, great people like Sage Vishwamitra themselves, they failed in their sadhana repeatedly, not once or twice. They repeatedly failed in their sadhana. And every time we start something, something comes and disturbs us and we are again back to square one. So it is almost looks like, we are achieving a situation of an impossible wall to climb. That is also the reason, unfortunately, many of us say, just forget the whole thing, man. Let us live our life and enjoy it. It happens. It happens and there's nothing to hide here. Many people achieve that state also instead of the other state, and they give up everything and they go into the ways of the world instead of persisting. So this is where one important aspect keeps missing us, and that is human effort is sadhana, God's grace is also equally important. When we overlook the fact that God's grace is also required along with the human effort, that is when we achieve these kind of mishaps in our sadhana and its path. This is one of the best experiences I've had with Bhagawan is, I will tell you about it, Dasara was going on. Swami was seated in the corridor at Purnchandra Auditorium. Mr. Shauri and myself were seated there. And somehow the topic of Sagar Manthan had come up. Sagar Manthan, we know that, no? Where the devils, demons and gods, both of them churned the ocean. And Swami asked me, do you know what Sagar Manthan is? I said, yes, Swami. Demons and Rakshasas and Devas did it. Why did they do it? He said, Swami, they wanted Amrit, the nectar of immortality. And Swami said, have you tasted Amrit anytime? Now this discussion was going into very uncharted territories, that scare you often. So I said, how will any human being ever taste Amrit, and why will we be here in the first place if we have tasted Amrit? So I just stared at Swami like that. Swami waved his hand and materialized this much of very sticky liquid. And he put it in my hand and he said, take it. Oh, the fragrance of that fluid was, I can't describe it. Amazingly fragrant, and when I put it into my mouth, it was even more fragrant. There's nothing like I've tasted before. Swami said, he didn't give Mr. Shauri, by the way, he gave only me. And he said, that what you have taken is Amrit, it gives immortality to those who have taken it. I was delirious. Yeah, that's good. My all sadhana, no more needed, I'm immortal, that's it. Then Swami brought me crashing down. He said, Amrit is like a booster dose only. It is not going to get rid of your karma for you. Booster dose helps you to fight the infection. It will not remove the infection. It can do nothing to the infection. It will help us to fight the infection. Amrit, Swami said, is always mistaken as something that gives you immortality. That is wrong, Swami said. It is a booster dose of grace from God, which helps you to fight your karma much more efficiently and much more strongly with the right frame of mind. So if this human effort of sadhana is not available along with Amrit, how much ever Amrit I give you, gallons and gallons, it's like pouring water into the ash only. Nothing is going to come out of it. This is a totally new perspective of Amrit that I was hearing for the first time. All the taste of Amrit that I had eaten and the delirium vanished in a second. Oh, that means I still have to do my sadhana and continue, right? This is not going to help me except give me a booster dose. That itself is a great blessing. So Swami said, every time God gives you an opportunity to do something good, remember He has chosen you to channelize His grace. That's because there is something good in you. The result is not in your hands. You are just a channel to do that something good. And that is the grace of God. Every time God gives you that opportunity, He is giving you this booster dose. That means he's giving us a chance to basically become much more proficient at achieving our sadhana and our goals. It's like what Swami said. See, when God's grace is, suppose if we are scheduled to get 21 whiplashes for some mistake we have done, 21 whiplashes will still fall on us, but God's grace will make it appear like as if you have got only one. The 21 whiplashes will still come, but God's grace is something like it will make us feel like as if we have received only one. So that effect is gone. So Swami said very clearly that when you think that out of your ego, because of your hard work, that thing has happened good and people should be grateful to you, you are no longer God's channel. You may think you are doing Daiva Karyas, you are actually doing Rakshasa Krutyas. It's the same channel. It's a feeling inside that matters. When the feeling is of humility and devotion, it becomes a channel for providing God's grace to achieve something very, very important that is beneficial to 100 others. But if we have ego within us, the same channel now functions to achieve evil outcomes, which are not beneficial to anyone. Swami gave the example of how Ravana was such a great saint. He was a saint actually. He knew all the Vedas. He was a Maha devotee of Lord Shiva. Right? Sivatandava Stotram was written by him only. He was such a great devotee of Lord, but all his activities ended at the puja room. The moment he got out of it, he became super egotistic. All the raga, dvesha, everything is there, it came into him. Let's not go into the story of, well, he was Jaya, Vijaya, reborn, so he deliberately did that so that Lord Vishnu can that comes apart. So this is a parable I'm just using to elucidate the point. So because everything that he did outside the puja room was filled with raga and dvesha, none of his activities achieved anything good to anyone. Ultimately, it ended in destroying him, his entire clan, and his city. It ended in total destruction for everyone. The same Ravana. So, Swami therefore said it's very, very important that when you do your sadhana, always remember that you should purify yourself, because once you do that, God's grace automatically starts channeling through us. And when these two combine together, suddenly we find that our spiritual practices are much more meaningful, much more insightful, and much more enjoyable, most importantly, so that we are beginning to reach our end goal. So that is the power of God's grace. That means human effort is very, very important, but we should also feel humble and keep ourselves as pure as possible so that we instantly become the channels for the divine grace. Because when that happens, when we are assured, when we have the confidence that God's grace is always there to protect us, everything becomes easy for us. One incident I still remember, it has a little bit of humor also in it, I mean for the people concerned, not for the people who were affected by it. So it was somewhere in 1996, there is a book written by Mr. Ryoki Hira. That was an occasion, where suddenly for almost 26 to 27 days, Swami continuously gave discourses. Somewhere in 1996. Mr. Ryoki Hira's book is there, Soldiers of Sai or some book is there, it is there in that. So there were 26 to 27 days, continuously Swami gave talks. I will tell you how it began. So one day I had come back from the college and I opened the door. Swami was pacing the Purnachandra Auditorium corridor up and down, very deeply lost in thought. Then I just looked at Mr. Shauri, I signed like this, why? He said, I don't know why. He's moving up and down. So I just went and stood there and Swami saw me and said, Ochava, have you come? Then he said, see, from today, now you see how the conversations come with him, and also why so easy it is to forget in whose presence you are. It's very easy. He's a master at putting the web of Maya around you before you can even imagine what's happening. So this conversation will tell you why. You see, from today I thought I should give discourses every day to the boys, but before that I'm looking for some speakers. I said, yes, Swami. I asked G. Venkatraman. G. Venkatraman said his throat is very bad, he can't speak. We have to believe this. Okay. And then I asked S.V. Giri. S.V. Giri says he has fever. Then I asked X, Y, Z. None of them are available to speak. By the time he had 1 foot outside Purnachandra Auditorium already, ready to go. And just before he left, you do one thing, you come and speak, he said, and he went off. I was in a panic, I had just come from college, I was not ready, I didn't know what to speak, my mind went totally blank and I was running like a mad monkey inside. Mr. Shauri got anxious, he said, please calm down, calm down. I said, what is there to calm down? Vedam has started there, and Swami wants me to come and speak, then he said, you first wash your face and go. So by the time I went, Vedam had stopped and Dr. Sandeepan was already beginning to announce. I ran. No, maybe Usain Bolt's record I would have broken for all I know. I ran through the lawn, went into South Prashanti, ran to the boys' entrance side of the mandir, and there I met Mr. Saha, who used to look after the gents' side, this thing there. And he said, what happened to you? I said, what happened to me? He said, look behind you. I looked behind, there were 6 Sevadals panting behind me. They thought that I'm a mischief maker because I was running like a madman and they were chasing me. Of course, they couldn't catch me because I was running much faster. And then Mr. Saha said, you go back, this boy is known to us. Just as I was entering the stage, Swami was seated like this, very peaceful, calm, as if he had no, intentions of acknowledging the commotion that he had created, totally. So he was seated peacefully like this, as blissful as ever, and Sandeepan Swami coming from the corner of his eye. He was standing near the mic, and you could see the relief on Sandeepan's face. I'll tell you why. Because he asked Swami, who is a speaker today, Swami told him, if Sainath comes, you announce his name. If he comes. What if he doesn't come? No answer. So he was panicking, what to do, and he was already in front of the mic. That's why he was tremendously relieved when I appeared, because I had come. Then he announced my name, and you could not fail to see that mischievous smile on Swami's face. You look at close quarters, very difficult to catch, but if you're sitting close by, you can see. And because from the corner, even he had seen me. So he smiled and he kept quiet, everything. Luckily, I managed to speak something there. God knows even now how it happened. And then when we went back, Swami asked a few elders, how did this boy speak? They said, Swami, he spoke very well. Swami said, Chala Santosham. After everybody went away, I was sitting alone with Swami. I said, Swami, I almost, pranal gontulo kochin, Swami, I said. This commotion, so much it happened. Swami said, why? I said, Swami, you didn't give me any time. I ran like, and I told him what all things happened outside. He patiently heard me and he said, the fault is yours. He said, if you truly believe that Swami will never give you a task for which he thinks you are not capable of, if you believe that whatever he gives you, Swami will definitely give you the support, you would not have reacted like this. You lost faith on that part of the thing. That is why you underwent all this. What you call as commotion is all your creation. If you would have believed that whatever task Swami had given me, you are just an instrument. If I do a sincere job there and stand confidently, Swami will speak through me. All this wouldn't have come to you. You would not have believed in all these thoughts. That is very, very important, therefore. This is the words he said. He said, you just had to come and stand in front of the mic, confident that I am here because Swami has told me to stand here. I would have spoken through you, he said. You lost faith in that. That is why for you all this commotion. This is actually not a commotion. It is your own creation, he said. You created all this commotion, he said. So it's such a valuable thing to learn here that this is what we need. Even if we fail any number of times, he is ready to forgive us. See, the beauty of Swami and this avatarhood is that he accepts us for what we are. He never puts conditions. Only if you are this, you can come near me. Never. He accepts sinners as much as he accepts saints. Because he is confident of changing us. As is, that's it. He accepts us as is. No conditions. So that is because he knows that if we just take that one step of putting in a sincere effort, his grace is anywhere there to help us to achieve our goal. So that is the role of divine grace combined with our own sadhana. I would like to move on to some real practical lessons which I think will help us in this part of sadhana. What does Swami expect? These are the practical aspects of our sadhana. When I say Trikarana Sudhi, Manasekam, Vachasekam, Karmanyekam, Mahatmanam, it's all philosophy to many of us. But really on the real world, what should I do? In the real world, what we can do? I have gone through a few of my experiences and have collected a few points. Possibly, I hope that these would help us in some way. The first is, once again, each one of these will have an experience attached to it. because experience teaches us better than, it's the best teacher. Experience is the best teacher rather than reading it in some book. Our final year boys, my batchmate Rajgopal is here. He would remember in our times. Now when the final year students were leaving the portals of the university, invariably Swami would call them for an interview. It was happening in those days. So we would all cram into the interview room and Swami would spend some time. He would advise us on how to live our life and other things, and then we would go. Our batch was particularly fortunate because we got 4 to 5 interviews, something which no batch which I remember got. So of course with each batch Swami would pack off a few people. Said you go to this place, you go and do your work. So 40 became 30, 30 became 20, 20 became 12, and finally those 12 people Swami put in different places in the ashram, shifting process. So then during one of these discourses, one of the Swami finished talking to us, advising us. Then Swami asked the students, if you have any questions, you can ask me. One of the students, I remember, he said, Swami, you have spent so much of your love, time and attention on us. You have trained us. But Swami, please tell us how we can use all this experience to change the world. Give us some practical advice. Swami said, don't even bother changing the world. You cannot do it. That is why the avatar comes. That is the job of the avatar, he said. Then we were all stunned. Then what is the purpose of spending of so much of time with us if it is not to change the world? Then Swami said, all I expect of you is to be an ideal for others. My purpose of spending so much of time with you, showering you with so much of my love and attention, is because I want you to stand as an ideal. People should look at you and tell, this is how I want my son to be. This is how I want my brother to be. That is the purpose of spending so much time in you. So see, the entire focus is different. The entire focus is different. We were thinking that the training he is giving us is for the outside world. No way. He was actually expecting an internal transformation. So the focus is entirely different over here. Then he told us this is the reason. So every time each one of us, those who are in this world, in this organization or wherever it is, that is what we have to always look for. Office bearer or no office bearer, it doesn't matter. What we should always look out for is, am I inspiring others to do something good? Am I inspiring others to follow this path of my life? So am I inspiring others to take this walk of life? Is somebody pointing fingers at me and telling, what kind of a person is this? He stayed with Swami for such a long time and look at his behavior. That is ultimate defeat of purpose of the avatar. And we will be the greatest sinners alive ever if we come to that state. Wherein people are pointing fingers at devotees and us and telling, what kind of a devotee is he, because our guru gets the blame if we are like this. So the purpose of all the spiritual pursuits should be how I can become an ideal for others to emulate, which obviously means we have a great task within ourselves. Our own responsibility is much higher instead of blaming X, Y, Z for what is happening around us. The second part also I would like to now come up with another incident. Sports meet is something all of us are aware with. Many of you have your children, brothers and sisters who studied there. Some of the youngsters who have parents who would have studied there. And, sports meet is something the students prepare with a great gusto. One particular sports meet, we tried out something new. We had 3 stages. It was, of course, done in the evening, and each stage would be lit up. So one scene of the drama or the program would take place in this stage, and then the lights would dim. And the lights would come on in another stage, and the things would start over there while this stage is getting ready. So we tried something new like that. There was, of course, it is actually like a sequence of events centered around one theme. But there will be different events in different stages connected to this. I was responsible to depict one scene wherein, I had to depict that there was exploitation of one section of society against the other. It was there all along, and it is there even now. And that is the reason why society has been degrading. Exploitation is the biggest sin. So we had to depict that. So we discussed among our teams and we said, okay, let's do this. We will depict a scene from ancient Rome, where slaves were used with whiplashes to do the work. That's a kind of exploitation. And then we'll switch to a scene in the modern times wherein, one leader of the society, for a want of better words, I will use this, comes and for photo ops, he will do some sweeping and all those things. And but actually when people come to him to narrate their woes, he just ruthlessly brushes them aside and he goes away. So that's also a kind of exploitation, right? So we depicted that. Everyone liked the way it was coming out and we were very happy. After this is over, generally there are 4 days gap before the prize distribution takes place. And in these 4 days, Swami used to spend so much of lovely time with the students, talking for hours together, sometimes discussing about the program we have done and all those things. This time it was different. The evening program was over. Next day we all went for darshan. Swami just came out to the interview room, hugged the wall, literally went to the ladies' side, again hugged the walls and came back inside. He would not even come near the boys. The first time it happened, we thought, oh, maybe he is busy. Evening became, same thing happened. Now when Swami is hugging the wall and going, everyone of the students community knows something is wrong. Because he would never hug the wall otherwise. Hug the wall means literally sticking to the walls and going. He would not come near the students. This evening also same thing happened. This time we knew something happened. Something has gone seriously wrong. Swami had decided not to talk to us. But what happened, nobody knew. So then next day we thought, see, not many days are left, if Bundan boys had to go back, we said, no, Swami has to speak to us. So best thing is catch Swami. Catch Swami and pray for forgiveness and let him only tell us what wrong we did. So thankfully he allowed us to catch him. And then we said, Swami, if there's something we have done wrong, please let me know. And this is where it comes. It turned out that I was the culprit. The Swami said, no, nothing, everything is fine, this, that, this. He said, no, Swami, something is wrong. Otherwise you have not coming and speaking to us. The Swami thought for some time and he said, that scene was there, where you showed slaves and that leader coming and a car and all that. Who was responsible for that scene? One thing is, we were, at least some of us, we were never afraid of Swami. Fine, if he's blasting you, it's your own mother blasting you, I say. The same mother will come tomorrow and again shower her love on you. What is there to get scared and lie and hide? No need. So I got up. I said, Swami, it was me. And Swami said, come here. So I went in the front and said, what did you show? I said, Swami, exploitation, this is what we showed. Problem is what we showed. He said to me, Bangaru, you showed the problem and discussed it very nicely. Where is the solution? That stumped me. He said, you did what everybody in the world does. Discuss the problem, curse the problem, dissect the problem. Nobody talks of the solution. I want my students to be the solution, not become the part of the problem. It's such a powerful statement. He said, if we can't become a solution, let us keep quiet. But let us not become a part of the problem. Recreating the same thing what the world outside is doing, we become a part of that murk with our Adishad Vargas, then we are falling in the same trap. We have failed Swami. So that's the second thing in our sadhana we need to remember. We need to train ourselves to be a solution or a part of the solution. We should not recreate the problem or become a part of the problem that is already existing. The second very important thing which Swami expects us to be very, very sure. The third thing I would like to speak about, this is a common problem which all of us face, mainly, and that is, comparison. I get up in the morning, I go to Nagar, I'm talking in context with our people, but I get up in the morning, I go to Nagar Sankirtan regularly, I sing bhajans regularly, I participate in seva, but how come I am suffering so much? That fellow wakes up at 8 o'clock in the morning, eats what he wants, doesn't chant a single mantra, but that fellow is enjoying his life. What is the point in doing this? These are thoughts which all of us get. Let us not hide anything here. Most of us get these thoughts at some point of the time or the other. That's because we are looking at the result of our sadhana. We forget that the result is never in our hands. There is a reason why the result is not in our hands. A very powerful reason, in fact. Yesterday I was talking to a few of our student brothers. I don't mind sharing it here once again. in the 90s, once I was coming back from the college, I saw a very sad sight of a patient being taken in a stretcher to the general hospital by a group of Sevadal. In those days, Sevadal, 6 of them used to take in a stretcher and they used to run up the hill because general hospital was located on the hilltop. I mean, you have to climb the hill. It's not exactly on the top. So they used to run up. They used to feel tired. So they used to take turns to change and go. It was very uncomfortable for the people. It was very uncomfortable for the patient also. I felt very sad. Like, see, when the devotees are coming to the ashram, the least thing we should do is try to see whatever facilities we can give them. So I shared it with Brother Dilip, who was there inside. I said, Dilip, I am very disturbed, that this has happened. What do you think we can do? He said, see, let us tell the ashram authorities and see. So we told the ashram authorities and they didn't show much interest in doing anything. So, but it was gnawing both of us because that scene was very powerful in my mind. I can't forget, the agony of the Sevadals as well as the patient. So then Dilip and I discussed and we said, why don't we tell Swami directly? So one day when we saw a nice opportunity, Swami was seated. So we went and told Swami, we have one prayer. And Swami said, what is it? Then I narrated this. I said, Swami, if one ambulance can be allocated in the ashram, so that whenever somebody is sick, patients can be transported to the hospital in that ambulance, it will be very nice. Swami just stared at us for some time. He said and walked up and he went off. We thought, that's it, we have crossed our limit. Because ashram administration is not our responsibility, right? And Swami is very, very particular about the role segregation. So we thought, gone. We played our card and looks like we have played it wrong. So then we kept quiet. Next day, we came and we heard the good news that one ambulance has been allocated with a driver. But Swami is still not talking to us. Then we went and fell at Swami's feet. And we said, Swami, if we have crossed our limit, you please forgive us. Swami put one hand on each one of us and he said, who told you you crossed your limit? I'm not at all angry with you. See, you thought of the welfare of hundreds of others. You gained nothing out of this. You were thinking about their welfare. And this is where Swami made a statement, which always rings in my ears very clearly. God's grace is always there, but for it to fructify, it looks for a channel. He said it looks for a channel. God never does anything on his own. He always precipitates events so that will channel through. Uddhava Gita, for example. Uddhava Gita happened because Uddhava asked Krishna for his spiritual doubts to be clarified. Bhagavad Gita came into the world because Arjuna refused to fight the war and Krishna had to give him that lesson. Everything in this creation of God's grace that you see, entire Ramayana happened because Ravana abducted Sita. So it has to be precipitated. He precipitates events so that channels appear and through that channel he makes events happen. That is what he told us on that day. You basically reciprocated a good thought. And I immediately acted on it. On his own, he would never have possibly given that ambulance. Somebody had to tell him. Why does he give that chance is another important question. It is a punyam for us only. When we think of 10 people and their welfare, we are getting that punyam. That chance he wants to give us. For him, whether he gives or not makes no difference to him. But he wants us to take that opportunity. So we need to be very, very careful here about how we think of others, because the moment we start thinking about the welfare of others, Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu, automatically we are becoming a channel for God's grace to start flowing and for some event to unfold somewhere, which has a beneficial effect on everyone. So this is a very, very important thing that I learned on that particular day. Then I come to the next lesson, that is how we basically have a thing, about the environment which we are in. We keep saying, for example, we see one of the times we go to our office, we say, my God, this fellow has come. The moment we see him, we start getting, why I have to see this fellow's face in front early in the morning, blah, 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 and all. Then we say everything that happens to us, we say, because that person did this only, this is happening. So we blame, then again what I told you just now. I get up in the morning, I do all my sadhana, I am suffering. That fellow wakes up at 8 o'clock, eats non-veg, drinks everything, and but he is enjoying his life. Comparisons and blaming of environment, all the time that is happening because we keep forgetting one very important thing. God always gives us what we deserve. I remember once, Mr. Chiranjiro came to Swami and he was smiling because he obviously had something very funny to share. Swami said, Emi nautunao. He said, Swami, today when devotee came into the office, he didn't know I was seated behind and listening. He was cursing at the top of his voice. Swami said, what? He said, Swami is telling, what is this ashram? What kind of ashram is this? Everywhere you go, people are shouting at us. Accommodation office you go, people are shouting at us. Canteen you go, people are screaming at us. Sevadal you go, sorry, I know many of you go in Sevadal. It may not apply to you physically, but there's a general trend. So you go to bhajans, Sevadal shout at us. Everywhere people are shouting and screaming at us. What kind of a spiritual environment is this? That's what he was cursing. Then Swami immediately said, see the words that he made it come out. Number one, anger. Second, dvesham. Third one, vismayam. Vismayam means disgust. All these things. And Swami looked at Chiranjiro and said, every environment that you see is there because God willed it that way. Because that environment was there, you now realize that those evil qualities are there in you. You are capable of anger. You are capable of jealousy. You are capable of disgust. These are all evil qualities in you. If that environment was not created, these things would not have come out of you. Once you get this out of you and realize that these are the things I have, now do your sadhana to get rid of them. So the environment is always there because it is needed for us. So next time when we meet somebody who irritates us, let us understand irritation is a disease in us. And that person is there because God wants you to realize that you are irritable. The day we stop having this irritation in us, irrespective of how many times that person comes in front of us, that person will either move out or we will move out. The fact remains that we will not see each other. Scene 2. We will shift to scene 2. So that is the beauty of the thing, what happens. Most importantly, answering the question about why, despite our best efforts, sometimes we don't really seem to be getting the fruits of our endeavor. I actually call it the account book theory. One of the most powerful elucidations of spirituality I've ever heard from Bhagawan, because my life changed after that. Until then, I used to think like this. I served Swami so faithfully. Why is Swami telling me to go out and all those things? But after this elucidation, I never thought of those. Those thoughts never crossed my mind anymore. One Swami asked me to convey a message to Mr. Narayan, who was the secretary at that time, about one particular devotee couple. One devotee couple, he wanted some message to be conveyed to Mr. Narayan about them. I don't know what happened. The consequence was that couple was asked to leave the ashram. And I felt, because they were a very nice couple, those two. Elderly, all the time they would indulge only in their sadhana and nothing else. They would not partake in any gossip. Morning to evening they will do only seva, their allotted work, always peaceful face, always smiling face, and then they would go. I was feeling very sad because I knew them personally. I said, see, they're such a nice people. Why did Swami punish them by asking them to leave the ashram? How sad they must be feeling. The Swami saw my face and he said, what happened? I said, Swami, nothing. He said, don't lie to your parents and to your guru. Come here and tell me what happened. So I said, Swami, this is what happened. I think I didn't convey your message properly to Mr. Narayan. The consequence was he asked them to leave the ashram. And now they must be very sad and sorry. Swami looked at me and he said, what makes you think that by leaving the ashram, they'll be sad? I never asked that question. What is in future for them, how will I know? What is waiting for them after they leave the ashram, how will I know? I don't know any of these. I was analyzing the event entirely based on the present. And based on that, I was thinking they are going to be sad because they left. And then Swami said, then I asked him, but Swami, I have also noticed one thing. All these pious people, there are so many of them in the ashram. Because when Swami used to go on summer vacation to Vrindavan, we used to stroll around the ashram. We used to meet some of these old devotees, who have been there for many years with Swami's feet. And it was such a learning experience for us to talk to them, to listen to their experiences. So I said, but they never ever were allowed anywhere near Swami. There was no occasion for them to come anywhere near Swami. So I said, Swami, there are so many people in this ashram and this world who do their sadhana so sincerely. But they never get an opportunity to come near you or enjoy your proximity or your experience. your sambhashan, your darshan, they don't get that chance at all. But there are others, who apparently don't seem to be doing anything. They seem to be getting lots of opportunities to be around you. Then Swami revealed something that is mind-blowing. He said, you sit down. I will tell you something that will put all your doubts at ease. He said, when you go, I called it the account book theory. Swami didn't call it, please. I called it this, the account book theory. So Swami said, when you go to the bank and you want a loan, will the bank immediately give you the loan? I said, no, Swami. What happens? He said. I said, Swami, first they will see how much of money I am earning, what is my salary, what is my earning capacity. Will I be able to repay the loan with the salary I am earning? If what I am asking is tallying with what I am earning or what I have earned with my self-effort, then the bank will give me what I asked. Then Swami said, suppose you are not earned enough and what you have asked does not match with this. Will you get the loan? I said, no, Swami. Swami said, no. The bank will look at the second aspect. What is that? Collateral. Do you have any lands, houses, ancestral properties? Any of those ancestral properties do you have, which you can give it as a collateral to the bank, then the bank will give you what you asked. Then Swami said, third, any other way? I said, no, Swami, I am not aware of any other way of getting a loan from the bank. There's a third one, Swami said, if you can catch hold of someone who will tell, in case this person cannot repay the loan, I will pay on his behalf, guarantor we call it. Then also bank will give the loan. I said, yes, Swami, that also is true. Swami said, apart from these three methods, unless you rob the bank, there is no other way you will get the loan from the bank. I said, yes, Swami. Bank ki kannam bedte, he said. I said, yes, Swami. And he said, spirituality is just like this. I urge you all to please concentrate because your perspective of life will change after this. First, he said, first is easy to guess, but nevertheless I would like to share it. He said, when your earning capacity and what you have earned, this, he said, is your own karma. The good and the bad which you have done through your actions in this life and the past will be added in the first column. So if you are asking for divine grace and some wish from God, first column God will see. Suppose if you have done more punyam and less papam, there's a positive credit in your balance, so he will give you what you asked. Okay, let us say we are such sinners that, our sins are much more than our good things. First column is mostly in debt. It's in red. We have not done enough good, we have done more bad only. God goes to the second column. Second column was ancestral properties. Ancestral properties, Swami said, is the punyam which somebody in your lineage of family has accumulated. It can be your forefathers, it can be your grandfathers, it can be your own parents. Suppose if they have done something stupendously good that has helped benefit mankind in a great way, God showers abundant grace on the entire lineage. So, if our forefathers have done some great deed, generations after that will stand to benefit from that good. This sometimes, Swami blesses us, tarataralaki Swami anugraham dandaga untundi. Some of you would have heard. This is the meaning of that. It's not just us, our children, our grandchildren, anybody who follows us will get this benefit of this. That's a collateral. Let us say second column also, we don't have forefathers who have done this kind of a good thing for us. Let us say our parents have done something, they couldn't do more than that. This column also is blank for me. God goes to the third column. Third column I said was the guarantor. This you will never imagine who it is. Any guesses? Not Swami, that's the beauty of it. Guarantor, Swami said, is if these two columns are empty, God starts listening. Anywhere in the world is anybody praying for your welfare. It can be your mother, it can be your father, it can be your friend, anyone. Swami, this person is a very nice person, he is very helpful. Because of him, so many people are benefiting. May he always be happy. May his family always be happy. May he always be better with good health. That prayer is enough for God to give us what we want. I understood I understood several things in this moment of elucidation from Swami. Number one, why it is important for us to always do good all the time. Kuru punya mahoratrim. Kuru punya mahoratrim, Swami says, do good all the time. Why? We don't know when that is required. We don't know when that benefit of that positive credit balance in our karma we have, when it will be required for us. It's for another occasion where I can share my own experience where I required it. Number two, why we had to always, have people pray for us. Guaranteers. Why will people pray for us unless we have done good for them? People don't know us. Somewhere in some corner, why should somebody pray for us unless we have affected them positively in some way? Collateral, why it is important for us to do good all the time? Because not just us, family generations behind us, they will also benefit that. We will be doing some punyam for them also. Once we understand this, everything falls into place. Why X, Y, Z is enjoying despite all the apparent bad deeds that he is doing. Why I am suffering despite all the good deeds that I am suffering. In the background, this account book theory is very much operating. Once we understand all these things, things fall into place. God will never do anything that breaks his account book theory. Unless, of course, we are, this another time I asked Swami, what happened to Markandeya and Prahlada? Didn't they gain immortality? Swami said, you become like them, you will also gain that. Markandeya, what it is? Anyata saranam nasti. He caught the lingam and he said, do whatever you want, Lord Yama, I am not going to leave God. That is the level of surrender you have, none of this will work. Don't need to work. God will take care of everything. Until we reach there, this account book theory will operate. So it's a very important thing that we need to do. The last thing I would like to conclude with is a very important lesson practically we have to observe is let us focus on the creator and not on the creation. I remember there's a very hilarious incident. I think I find it the best way to stop. We had gone to Kodaikanal with Swami when one of the faculty members had a green ring like this, which Swami had materialized. So we all sat down and Swami was seated and Swami said, hey, this ring is shining so nicely, give it to me. So this faculty member took that ring and gave it to Swami and Swami was having it in his finger right in front of our eyes and he said, this is a very nice ring, what color is this ring? So we all said, Swami, that's a green ring. Are you sure? Swami said and he gave the ring. The green stone had turned to white stone. The ring was in front of our eyes all the time. When it happened, we don't know. It turned to white, so we were all scratching our head. Because we knew the ring was green. How did it become white? Okay, anyway, leave it. Then Swami put the hand up. Okay, now tell me what color this is. We said, Swami, that's a white colored stone. He said, what happened to your eyes? It's a green colored stone. Why are you calling it white? It had turned back to green. Third time he took it and he said, boys, what color is this stone finally? We said, Swami, whatever color you want, it is that color. There's no point in arguing with him. He will win it whichever way you look at it. So we said, Swami, whatever color you want, it is that color. And Swami said, this is the creator and the creation combination. You were focusing on my finger and the ring. You never looked at who is holding that ring. If your focus was on the creator, creator never changes. Creator remains the same. Creation changes just like this ring. So because you focus on the creation, creation changes all the time. Your senses, inputs to you also will keep changing all the time. Your sadhana will keep fluctuating all the time. Because you have to recalibrate all the time what your senses are telling you. And your senses are giving you misleading guidance because they are banking on the changing creation. But if you focus on the creator behind who never changes, your senses will always give you the right input, because of which your sadhana will remain steady and proceed steadily towards its goal. So this is the thought I would like to share with you all. It is such an exhilarating opportunity for me. My throat was bad. This is another instance of how he made me. Even before coming here, I was coughing. My alumni will know that. I never coughed once except for once briefly. That is, I stood here because I saw Swami giving me this opportunity. I wanted to do the best out of it. He ensured it went smoothly. So with these words, I would like to stop and thank Swami with all my gratitude for what he has given. Jai Sairam.
Sairam sir, thank you so much for translating your wonderful experiences with Swami into the important lesson of Trikarana Shuddhi. as a mark of our love and affection, I'll now request one of our elder brothers in the Sundaram Bhajan group, Brother Vasudevan, who also happens to be an alumnus and a batchmate of Sainath sir, to kindly honor him by handing over a small memento as a token of our love.